Hello, we are at the top of the hour, and I am so glad you're here, and I am really looking forward to the time we're going to be spending together here over the next hour or so. I don't take time lightly, so I am going to fill this with as much content and information as I possibly can to really help you get clear on an exact model to get more clients online. So because I don't take time lightly, I want to get straight to the point. There is a brand new opportunity for coaches and other client-focused entrepreneurs to create a powerful and effective marketing and sales funnel that puts you right in front of thousands of your ideal clients, tens of thousands, in no time flat. This system can easily double your profits and double your time off in less than 90 days when it's implemented in a strong and solid way. I realize that sounds really hypey, but the truth is that online marketing is starting to replace some of that old school offline networking and marketing. And getting in the front of the right people at the right time used to be kind of a crapshoot, especially when you were trying to go to all kinds of different networking events, and just trying to get in front of the right people has not always been the easiest task as an entrepreneur. But now there's a way with a simple system to get in front of the exact clients you want to work with and also the clients who are willing and ready to pay for your services. That being said, everything that I'm going to teach today, there is some things that you have to have in place to really be able to implement this. And first and foremost, you've got to have an absolutely amazing product or service that you know gets people's results and you know can help transform their lives. If you have that, this model can work absolutely outstanding for you. You also should have had some experience of really selling and implementing your model in an offline way. Even though maybe it's been taxing and hard and annoying at times, at least you know you can sell. If you can sell offline, you can definitely sell online. So I'm going to teach you exactly how to do just that and how to get those clients more quickly than ever before by leveraging the power of the internet, even if you hate technology or if it can drive you crazy. This webinar is cutting edge and a must-watch, so I congratulate you for being here and really capitalizing on this opportunity to create an ultimate freedom-based business and one that's full of clients and income and really creating the freedom that you desire in ways that you probably have only dreamed is possible. So the system I want to share today is going to really simplify your business so you can finally get off that crazy train of overwhelm and confusion and frustration. There's no fluff, no kind of BS, hypey information. It's the exact system that's allowed me to quadruple my profits in less than a year. And I really want to challenge you to leave today with a brand new framework. And this framework gives you full permission to be very bold in showing up as the expert you are in your industry and to be seen, to no longer be the best kept secret to the clients that need you the most. Because I'm going to cover a lot of ground really fast, I'm just going to ask that we reserve questions to the end. I'm going to keep the line open and I'll answer those questions after we get through all of the information. Also, I am going to be asking a number of kind of close-ended questions. I just want to make sure that we're staying on the same page and that you're getting what you came here to get. And so I'll be asking a lot of questions. There'll be yes and no questions and some other questions as well. And I'm going to ask that you use, if you're not familiar with the GoToWebinar technology, use the question box to answer questions, or you can raise your hand if you want to say yes that way. So that's a little, I guess, what's the word? Housekeeping. There it is. So the other thing is that there's nothing for sale on today's training. But that being said, I mean, I got to be completely honest here. If you're running a business and building a business, even though there's nothing for sale today for you, you have really got to decide if your business is in fact a business or just some little thing that you dabble in on the side. Because if it's truly a business, if this is your life, passion, and purpose, you must be prepared to invest in it. And I don't mean just investing heart and soul and time and blood, sweat, and tears. I mean it is going to take investing money. You really can't run a business without capital. And that's one thing that I see so many entrepreneurs, especially coaches, is they try to launch their businesses with just their time alone. And it's actually the number one thing that burns people out and leads people to giving up on their dreams and not fully making the impact that they're meant to have in the world. You see, what I've learned is that there's a fast and easy way, and then there's a slow and hard way to build a business. And if you want the fast way, you have to start getting comfortable and used to investing in yourself and in your business if you haven't already. If you want the slow and free way, honestly, this webinar and this system and this funnel is not for you. It doesn't have to be madly expensive, but it does take investment. So there has to be some comfort around spending and investing and taking some risks to really fully implement what I'm going to teach. If that's not you, if you're not at that place in your business, if you're really not ready to move forward in that sort of way, then you probably want to save yourself at least this time, because God knows that time's really important to you, and you can use this time to really work on those other aspects of your business. But that being said, I urge you to stick around to the end, because even though I don't have anything for sale, I do have some opportunities to get more and to learn more and to take what you're learning today to a deeper level. And at the end of the day, you can just relax, soak all the information in, and I'm going to make sure you get some resources at the end of this to then implement it afterwards. Information without implementation is pointless, so I'm going to make sure I can do whatever I can to help get you set up for implementation when we're all done here. Also, you showed up today, and I love to reward people who show up and commit to finishing what they started. You're investing your time, and that absolutely inspires me, and that jazzes me every single day in my business when people show up. So thank you for being here. So I am a lot like you. When I first launched my business, I bruised my knees a lot before things started clicking. I really thought people would just start clamoring at me and begging for my services, because I knew the value I had, and I knew that I offered an amazing service that was transforming people's lives and businesses, yet I had a really hard time articulating what I did in a way that made any sense to another human being. I spent hours of my time reading books, creating a website, making marketing materials. I truly believed that if I built all of this stuff, that people would just come. But to no surprise, nobody came. I got nothing. So I continued to delve into research, and I was just always looking for this magic bullet, and there's so much out there, right? And I was always looking for the information that I needed to build this successful business that I saw so many other people building. And I more than anything at that point, I hadn't even left my job, so I just wanted to get out of my job. I was working with kid criminals as a juvenile probation officer, and I just needed to get out of that job. I wanted to help people who wanted to be helped, not people who were being forced to be helped by the juvenile justice system. So I did a lot of studying, but not a lot of action taking, and I got really, really good at picking out all the things that I could do behind a computer. And focusing on those things made me feel like I was really working on my business, but in the end, and what I know now, is it was a huge avoidance tactic of getting my butt out there in front of people. And the truth is that I am a huge wallflower, and I'm very introverted, and I hate chit-chat. I would have rather walked through fire than attend a networking event or speak publicly. Do any of you watch Jimmy Fallon? Are you Jimmy Fallon fans? So just like a Jimmy Fallon skit, I turned back into this middle school girl every time I thought about having to get out of my house, and I thought, ew, I dreaded it. I avoided it at all costs, but my business paid a huge price for it. I was walking around my business like, where's Waldo? Nobody could find me. Nobody could see me. I kept myself a secret because of my disdain for networking. And underneath all of it was really my biggest fears, which were fears of being rejected or that people wouldn't like me, I guess. But what that meant was that I wasn't helping anybody, and I wasn't fulfilling my purpose and my passion, and I wasn't making any money, so I wasn't even taking care of my needs of my family at home. Can any of you relate to this feeling about networking, this dread or disdain around getting out there and sharing your message? If you can relate to that, just throw a yes in the question box or raise your hand. Let me know I'm not alone on this. Yes, thank you, Cynthia. Yes, of course. Yes. Hey, Cynthia. Oh, it's Cynthia, my dear friend Cynthia. Thank you for reminding me to record. Anybody who's been on my webinars, you know that sometimes I have a tendency to forget to record, and I remembered. I'm getting really good at this. So, so I got a lot of great stuff in store for those of you who showed up live, but I do want to at least get the information to the people who weren't able to show up live. So Yeah. So I got really desperate. I had to find a way. I mean, I was exhausting every option except networking. And it was getting to the point where I had no choice. Like, talk about being at your last straw. I had hired coaches, I bought programs, I read books, I searched high and low. So I had to bite the bullet and I joined a local networking group. So fortunately, through networking, I was able to secure my first 5 clients and in a couple of months learn more about who I really wanted to work with. But in the meantime, I was still searching. And after continuing to study and attend different presentations, I found something that sounded really promising by using webinars and Facebook advertising to get targeted clients. And that was when I got my big business breakthrough. And from there was no turning back. I tested it out. I held my first webinar. I do these now every single month. I invested $300 in that first webinar. That was what I was willing to lose at that point, at the end of my rope. And I gave it my best rookie shot. And as a result, I landed 2 clients to the tune of over $7,000. Now, at that time, it only took me 3 hours to make $7,000. I had a 1-hour webinar and a 1-hour conversation with each of those clients. And I felt like I hit the jackpot. It didn't take weeks or months of building relationships offline. It took a couple of hours. And I knew I had found something that worked and that would create a consistent flow of leads and clients coming through my door. And it's exactly this system that led to the fast and easy way of growing my business. And I've been able to have the same results over and over again. And it's exactly this system that I'm sharing with you today. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it to you to get more clients and really create the freedom you're craving at the same time you're changing other people's lives? So on a scale of 1 to 10, I just kind of want to gauge where everybody's at. If we've got enough leverage in your business to really take massive action, or if you're at that place that you're not so sure you're going to really take action on this stuff. So I got an 11 coming in, an 8, a 10. Awesome. Another 10, a 9. Perfect. So all really high numbers. So it's just important for you to really acknowledge where you stand on your business. And maybe you're not at that place of ultimate leverage that I was at, where I had no other choice but to move forward. But just know that leverage is a really powerful place to be, and that's when you're going to get your big breakthrough. So, and for those of you who are at 10s and 11s, your breakthrough is here and it's coming. And even 9s and 8s, everybody's throwing out really big numbers. So I'm going to be taking you through a really simple 6-step marketing and sales model, and it's behind the success of a lot of 6-figure, multiple 6-figure, and 7-figure earners. And when I was a complete newbie to this online marketing world, you heard the impact that it had on my business, but I certainly didn't just come up with this concept on my own, and I have to give credit where credit's due. As a part of all the research I was doing, I came across a number of people who I consider my mentors. Some of them I've actually invested tens of thousands of dollars in, and others I've just absorbed every single piece of information I could to really learn about their systems. You know, one of the people I'll draw your attention to is Melanie Duncan, and maybe you've seen her ads on Facebook. She created an online funnel using this exact model to generate $2,000 a day off of a $97 product, and she was able to perfect that system so that it's all on autopilot. It just all automatically runs. And then David Nagel here also implemented something similar to this to get strategy calls or sales calls. And as a result of these sales calls, he generated over $50,000 in sales just off of the calls by running targeted Facebook ads and having a system to follow up with them. So many people are getting huge returns on their investments in doing what you're going to be learning about today. So here's what else I discovered as I was coming across these incredible mentors and people. They all had humble beginnings. Every single person started exactly where you are right now. They didn't start out with piles of money or contacts or superpowers or anything that you don't have sitting here right now. In fact, if you look at some of their stories, many of them probably had less. They were just everyday people like you and like me. The other thing is they were making an ish ton of money and broke into their respective markets at record speeds. And many of them reached the 7-figure mark within a few short years. They also were using their expertise, so really connecting to their expertise And they were using that to present high-value online webinars or high-value content to their target audiences. And they also were generating targeted leads and turning them into cash by leveraging technology and social media, which is why we're all here. So I realize, that the good majority of people feel intimidated by technology, and even marketing and sales in general can cause a lot of discomfort. In fact, I've heard from hundreds of coaches and entrepreneurs that all they want to do is help people. That's it. They feel completely blindsided by this whole business building stuff. And so there's a few really common myths that prevent entrepreneurs from moving forward in the business, in their business, and really launching, what they want to do. The first myth is that it takes years to build a wildly successful business, or the belief that it takes a lot of hard work to become established. I just mentioned earlier that one common factor I found with all these big league players is that they grew their businesses very fast, and many of them to 7 figures in less than 3 years. The truth is that in the olden days, I say olden days, like that, maybe my Minnesota accent comes out in that. In the olden days, we didn't have, that's even a olden days is a kind of an old word, but we didn't have the resources and the technology that we have today. I mean, would you agree with that? We didn't have all of what we have today. And so because of the way things went, even 10 years ago, people started creating beliefs on these old systems and marketing tactics, and they were true then. It did take a long time to become established and become known. Literally, the only way you could was by walking down the street and constantly sharing your message and handing out your business card. But that's not where we're at anymore. But what's crazy is so many people still hold on to that belief that it takes 3 to 5 years to hit 6 figures, or whatever story we tell ourselves. And it's just simply not true. Because the truth is that all you need are 3 things to be in place to really grow your business to whatever level you want to grow it to. And you can put these 3 things in place as fast or as slow as you want to. Time is the illusion in this scenario. So the first thing you have to have in place is you must have a rock-solid marketing and sales strategy. The second thing you have to have in place is a product or service that gets amazing results, like we just talked about. And then the third thing that must be in place is you have to master the inner game with your beliefs and the psychology and the mindset so that you can really confidently and fearlessly grow your business. You have to understand on some level that you are unlimited, and that if you can vision it, you can have it. But you really got to get out of your own way to implement those other 2 pieces of a successful business. Another myth that I come across, especially around online marketing, is that it's really complicated. And actually, like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about 6 simple steps to pull off an online marketing funnel. Now, there are a million different directions you can go online, but the truth is you just want to find the one that aligns the most with you and pick the one way, the one path, the path of least resistance to the outcome you want to get. And maybe that's Pinterest, and maybe it's Facebook advertising, and maybe it's LinkedIn, who knows? But this is one of those funnels that you can choose from. You don't have to do it all. You just have to find one simple funnel. And then it's just like paint by numbers. You literally do 1 step at a time, and then boom, you have your marketing masterpiece. And what's beautiful about online marketing is that once you build it and it's successful, you can completely automate it. And it's that automation that will bring in consistent leads and make your business feel much more sustainable, so you can get off the roller coaster of good months and then bad months and then good months and then bad months. The third myth that I want to share is this myth that online marketing costs a lot of money and that it's really a huge gamble. In my opinion, this looks at online marketing from the wrong perspective. When marketing is done the right way, the question isn't how much is this going to cost me? The question is how much is this going to make me? So the model I'm sharing today really works within any budget, but typically the more money you can invest in a proven and tested model, your own proven and tested model, the more money you can make, the more quickly you can make it. So for example, for my first 2 webinars, I invested $300. The first one generated $7,200. The second one generated $10,200. And those type of returns happen over and over again. So when you find that, say you throw a couple $100 at some advertising or this model, and you find that it works, I want to walk you through some simple math, right? So if a $300 investment made $5,000, what would happen if we took $1,200 of that and put it into a proven and tested model, put it back into it, and knew that the numbers didn't lie? What would that turn into? $20K, yes. Exactly, $20,000. So would you be willing to look at investing in your business in this way? Meaning, would you be willing to invest $1,200 if you were able to figure out a way to get that consistent of a return? Would you invest $1,200 to make $20,000? Yeah, no brainer, right? Would you invest $1,200 to make $2,500? Double your money. Yeah, right? It's kind of a no-brainer once you get it really figured out. So let's dive into the nitty-gritty and learn the ins and outs of this 6-step model. The first step is that you have to know your audience. Now, we talk about niching. I mean, you probably are just sick to death of hearing about how you have to niche and how you have to have a target audience and how you have to have an ideal client. But the reality is that it's even more important when you get online. So you have to know your audience inside and out, not just their age and gender, I mean as much as possible. If you market to everyone, you market to no one. This is one area where online marketing can get really expensive, because if you're not targeting very clearly, you're going to be spending a lot of money to put your message in front of the wrong people. So here are a few ways that can help you uncover your tribe and your ideal audience. Your target market is most likely you, a few steps back. So really think about, what were some of your characteristics or quality prior to starting your business? What was missing from your life that led you to make a change? What are you an expert in? How about even what were some of your biggest fears, or what were some of your biggest challenges that ultimately led you to wanting to do something different or make a significant change? Really explore who you were then and who you are now and how you got there. The other way to find your audience is to make your mess your message and make your life ahas your message. So that's usually the area that you've become an expert in, right? Because you've experienced it from start to finish. And so when you think about your mess, think about the things that would maybe make you feel embarrassed if people found out about you. Or think about how you were able to overcome some of those challenging times. When you think about that, that could be a clue into your own unique signature process or signature system. That could be what you want to do a presentation on or create a product around. But digging into this piece, so many of us avoid, I found your biggest money-making opportunities are hidden and hiding in the places that you want to avoid going to. So it's time to rip the Band-Aid off and really investigate those pieces of your life. And then also create an avatar of your ideal client. Identify everything you can about them. Personality traits, what they like to do, read, hobbies. And I told you I have a surprise at the end. And I actually have a Get Clients online toolkit for you. And I've got some exercises for you to really nail down everything you can about your ideal client, which is going to help you in this model. And then finally, really take a look at what books your shelf is full of. Obviously, that's something you're really passionate about. If you were to go to Amazon.com today, what area would you start looking up? What books would you be looking for? What nonfiction books would you be looking for? Obviously, if you're really passionate about learning and reading about it, you'll be passionate about teaching it as well. So it really boils down to just one magic question. Who is like you and would love to learn about the thing that you love to learn about, the thing that you would love to teach about? So there's no need to complicate this, and you can never revisit this too many times. So some of you might think you really have it figured out, but before you really step into implementing this model, you really want to make sure it is crystal clear, and take a look at your best clients and some of the characteristics and similarities that they all have, so that you can pull out even more details into who your ideal client is. So if you do nothing else other than this will change your business, whether you are online or offline or pinning or Instagramming or anything else. You have to know this piece no matter what. Once you really understand what your audience is craving and looking for most, you can do the second step. And that is create your signature webinar or your signature training. So I like doing webinars or teleclasses. I like doing online for a number of reasons. There's a lot of benefits to doing webinars or teleclasses. When I say webinars, it's either or. One, you don't have to leave your house. You can deliver it from absolutely anywhere. You don't have to worry about finding a place to hold a live presentation or a room setup, or you don't have to worry about travel expenses or what you're going to wear or how you look. I mean, I'm sitting in my kitchen right now staring out at my beautiful backyard where the leaves are just starting to turn. It's wonderful. I didn't have to go anywhere. I'm so comfortable. There's also no limit to the number of people you can present to at one time. And what's really incredible is it feels the exact same if there are 10 people on the call or on the webinar, or if there are 1,000. It feels the exact same. It really just totally takes any anxiety out of how many people you're serving. It's also more accessible for others. They don't have to travel. You know, they don't have to take a day off of work or make special arrangements, which are a lot of times barriers to getting to an event where you're trying to share your message. You can teach people locally or globally, and the power of doing online trainings is that you can instantly increase your know, like, and trust factor and credibility. Your personality just infuses through what you're doing and what you're talking about, your passion, everything about it. So that's why I love even webinars and teleclasses versus typical lead magnets like a free report or something else. It takes more for people to come and join, but the ability to truly connect with you and get you and see if they really align with you or see if they really are a good fit for you is very powerful. So as you can see, doing webinars takes off many of the limits, and the potential reach and the impact is so much greater, which means more clients and more income more quickly. So there is kind of a general guideline. I want to give you an outline of how to kind of pull off a successful webinar. This is just kind of, if you're analytical like I am, I like to have, like, you know, checklists and all this stuff, which is why I put together this resource for you at the end of all this. But here's just a general guideline or an outline to see exactly how to set up your webinar. And guess what? It's exactly how I set up this webinar, so you're going to experience it firsthand. I'm practicing what I preach. So the first part of your webinar is you want to share a big vision for your audience, and the whole goal here is to inspire them. So you can connect with their current pains or challenges and also paint the picture for their greatest desires and their wants. So naturally, as you've explored deeply into your ideal client, you can be really clear about what they want and desire most out of their life and what they're struggling with and having the biggest challenges with, so you can really create that vision and bridge that gap and really help them see that you kind of get where they're at and you understand where they're at and that you can absolutely help them get beyond it. From there, you'll share a relevant trial to triumph story. This is where you can make your mess your message. Just make it, again, relevant to, you know, whatever your mess is, make it relevant to the message that you're sharing. And you can uncover common myths with your audience about making change. So these would be the objections that people would have to implementing what you're teaching. So uncover those myths and debunk them. And then from there, you spend time taking them through your process of getting from point A, which is their pain point, to point B, their desired outcome. And this can be tips, or it can be an actual step-by-step process, and it shouldn't be more than 10 steps because too much information will overwhelm your audience. And then finally, you'll make a call to action where you make an offer and you share the benefits of that offer and how they can actually take advantage of it. So there's no hard and fast rule about how long a webinar should be. The rule is it should be as long as you can keep your audience engaged and paying attention. Most webinars are between 45 and 90 minutes, but again, it's really important just to understand your audience and what they will appreciate most. Another thing is to make sure you make it conversational. And what I mean by conversational is that you should really feel as though you're having a real conversation with just one other person on the other side. So it's the most powerful marketing technique you can do in everything you write and everything you say and every way that you speak. Always just imagine it's just one ideal client sitting on the other side or sitting on the other side of the phone line listening to what you're sharing. And then make sure you engage your audience often. And I heard one rule of thumb for those of you who are like very specific that you should engage your, that's me, I can call you out. You should engage your audience every 7 minutes. I'm so anal about some of this stuff. Like I would literally like sit with a timer and like, okay, it's at 7 minutes. I should probably ask a question. But so if you're anal like me, every 7 minutes, not 8, not 6, but every 7 minutes you should engage your audience. And really, it's not that big of a deal. I just have to rip on myself a little bit. And you can engage your audience by, like I'm asking you, to raise your hand or to type something in the question box or to take a note or to say something out loud with you. We know that learning is solidified when people say things out loud, even though nobody can hear them. And then finally, be 100% authentic and adopt your own point of view. And your own point of view, that might include controversy, and that might include mistakes. And the truth is that it's those small mistakes or those little mishaps that make you more human, like my forgetting to record webinars all the time. And it's just easier for your audience to connect to you when you're so real. And mistakes and as things come up actually really work in your favor. So you may as well embrace them because they're just absolutely flawsome. So that's kind of some hot tips on how to conduct a really successful webinar and to really get your expertise shared with your audience. The third step. Okay, so here's where things are going to get a little bit more technical. So let me take you through what you'll need for technology, but before your eyes glaze over because we're going into technology, just hold on because it's only 3 things, so you don't have to get overwhelmed or shut down. This is the piece that it's not nearly as complicated as you might think it is. And also, once you get the system set up, it does take some stuff on the front end, but once it's set up for life, and it's, again, established as that automatic lead generating tool. You can literally just plug and play after you do the work on the front end or get support for the work on the front end. And you just tweak it then. Once it's all created, you just tweak it and make it more efficient and more effective, and you learn by testing it. So a little side rant, automation trumps determination every time. So if you can find a way to set up automatic marketing, automatic pieces to your business, then you don't have to worry about that bright shiny object syndrome or getting distracted or just simply not doing it. And so the funnel that I'm teaching and why this is so important to me is that everything that I'm teaching can be like 80% automated except for the most critical parts of your business, which is connecting with your prospects. So the technology setup. The first thing to do is schedule your webinar or teleclass with a webinar service. So that's one of the technology tools you need in your toolbox. You need a service that you can get your message out through, either teleclass service, teleseminar service, or a webinar service. There are tons and tons of them out there. I use GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar. There's Meeting Burner. There's live Google Hangouts, which are totally free. Alex Mendocian is just an outstanding teacher on live Google Hangouts and very, very easy to set up and an unlimited number of attendees. There's free conference call for teleclasses, instant teleseminar. There's just a ton of resources out there. GoToWebinar is kind of the Cadillac, I guess you could say, just because of the interaction ability and the setup and all that stuff. So that's why I love using it, but there are simpler options and cheaper options. From there, you create a lead page or an opt-in page or a squeeze page. They're all the exact same thing. You can set this up directly in your website. But I will tell you, if you haven't heard of leadpages.net, this is the second tool for your toolbox. Leadpages.net is the easiest, most effective way to set up a lead page. Literally, you can set up a page in 15 minutes, if that, and have it completely hosted so you have a link for people to register for your webinar or your teleclass. The reason why I am a huge fan of lead pages is that they spend a lot of time and a lot of money testing to make sure that the layout of the page is the most conducive for more opt-ins. So, when you're looking at setting up a lead page or an opt-in page or a sales page, all stuff you're going to need no matter what you do in your business, highly, highly, highly recommend lead pages. But there are other services out there. You can have a designer or somebody just set it up on your WordPress site or your website, or there's another one kind of similar to lead pages called Megaphone through Kajabi. but you need an opt-in page. Second thing in your technology toolbox. The third thing you need in your technology toolbox is an email marketing service. So this can be Aweber or MailChimp, which is, you know, the most cost-effective, or Constant Contact, or a much more robust service of Infusionsoft. So Infusionsoft is the most robust, and it's much more expensive, but it's really incredibly powerful when it comes to the automation part of your business. And what's great is you're going to be experiencing the automation that's been set up. I'm teaching you exactly how I've set up this whole system. So everything that you've received from me, every email, every opt-in, everything has been 100% automated. I set it up once, and I never ever touch it again. So, so those three pieces are what you need: a webinar teleclass service, way to create an opt-in page, collect that information, which then directly goes on your email list where you can create follow-up emails for everybody who's signed up for your webinar. So this part of the process is a little tedious and can be a little touchy. It's not hard. It's not hard when you know the exact steps and you can have that checklist so you don't miss anything. But what is hard is that when you miss things, they can be really costly. So it's really helpful to learn from someone who's done this before to really ensure you get things set up beautifully so that you can feel 100% confident moving through the system. But again, you only need three things to fully implement it. They all integrate together. They all kind of talk to each other and make each other work more efficiently. And you don't need a big fancy, what I love about this is you don't need a big fancy website. You don't need to spend $5,000 creating a big fancy website. Or you know what, even more crazy? You don't even need a logo. You don't even need a business name. You don't need marketing materials. You don't need even business cards. I mean, really, you can implement this entire thing without any of those ancillary things that can take so much time as you're trying to figure out the design and you can get confused and frustrated about. So it's that simple. Three things. That's it. So after you get your technology all set up, it's time to start driving traffic, right, and start generating those leads. And this model allows you to generate leads and build your list simultaneously. So every single lead that you get will go on your list. You'll be building your list. And we know that over time, as you build your list, you can roll things out, and that's when you can really step into a bigger game when it comes to your financials and your big vision for financial success. So the way I want to show you how to generate leads is by using the power of Facebook. You're probably seeing piles and piles of stuff out there for Facebook advertising and how to do Facebook ads. And it's great because they're really not that complicated, but so much is missing from that, right? Because we can run an ad, but if we don't have the rest of the pieces put together, then we could be pouring a lot of money into Facebook and not really getting the results that we're looking for. But I just want you to really understand the power of Facebook. And I'm going to do a live demo for you so you can actually see the targeting ability of Facebook. But there's some like staggering statistics. Facebook's reach is absolutely tremendous. There are over 1 billion users to date. 1 in 7 people in the entire world have a Facebook profile or page right now. About the only audience that this would not work for, Facebook advertising, is if you work directly with corporations. So if you're a corporate coach or a corporate consultant, it could be challenging to really find those corporate leaders through Facebook advertising. But absolutely anybody else, any other individual that you want to work with, you can find them on Facebook. And 90% of small businesses are on Facebook, and 92% report that they've gotten a client or a customer from Facebook. And that was from a study done in 2012. So I won't bore you with any more stats, but do you think you could find, just knowing that 1 in 7 people in the world have a Facebook page or profile, do you think you could find a few ideal clients to fill your business from Facebook? There might be just a couple out there. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And I see some questions coming in too, and I'm going to go back to them. So thank you so much for asking those questions, Kristen, and I'll be getting right back to you on those at the end here. So let me show you how to actually use Facebook. And so you have to excuse me. I'm going to pop out of this little webinar here. All right. So in your Facebook, you will actually see this little drop down here where you can go to create ads. And I'm going to do just a couple of little examples so you can really see the targeting power of this. So this is the very first page you'll be brought to, and I'm not going to get into the Facebook ads. There's a lot more complexity. You can use this thing called Power Editor, and there's a lot of ins and outs of it. But the reality is that I've had just as great, I should say, I've had an incredible return on my investment in Facebook ads by using just the most simplistic way to run them. So I'm going to show you this really simple way. It works. Can you probably get better results using all these complex, mind-boggling things? Yes, but at the end of the day, if you're getting like an $8 return for every dollar you spend, I don't know. To me, it's not worth my time to really dig too deep into the rest of the stuff. I'm happy making $8 off of every dollar I spend. Can't get returns like that anywhere else, right? Okay, so so you would want to just send people to your website, and then you would enter in your website here, which I'm just going to use one of my old websites, and from there you would choose your images. You can choose up to 6 images, and what's beautiful is Facebook they've got images here for you to use. You can just use images from Shutterstock. You can create your own images and upload those, and Facebook will test all 6 images, and they will run the ad that is performing the best. So you don't even have to worry about stopping ads that aren't performing, because Facebook, they want to make money, and they want the ads that are actually making them money because you're paying for people to click on it. So so Facebook will actually test up to 6 images, and I suggest that you do that. And then from here, you just start entering your content. So you enter your headline that grabs people's attention, like it says. You enter a little bit of text, and you'll be able to kind of get a good preview of your ad over here on the side. I always turn off the right column and the mobile apps, and I just keep the mobile newsfeed and the desktop newsfeed going for ads. The reason being is that the right column, I just find that a lot of people don't look over there. And even when you think about doing some of this stuff, just think, do I ever click on that right column? And if you find that you click on the right column a lot, then your audience, who's probably mostly like you, might also click on the right column a lot. I personally don't, so I figure my audience probably doesn't pay much attention to the right column either. So so there's those ads can be run both if people are on their smartphones or if they're on their desktop. Okay, so this is really what I want to show you. So you can target your audience very, very easily. So I just want to use the example. I'm going to throw 2 examples out there. First, I'm going to start with a wedding coach. So let's say that that you're a wedding coach and you are helping brides not be bridezillas because they get all cranky and stuff sometimes. So you know that, and maybe you even want to work with, older brides, or maybe they're, more mature brides, and they're already, making decent money, and they're just finally they've focused on their career, and they're pulling their love life together. So let's just say well, for brides, let's just say like 30 to, 45. And that's the target audience. So under this more demographics, you actually can start targeting people in this way. So for brides, we would go into relationship status, and look at this. We can say, oh, they're engaged. They're engaged. And look at, there's 1.5. Here, I'm going to turn my, so you can see it better. Let me turn my highlighter on. Oh, no, that won't let me do it. But you can see right here the potential reach of how many people right now are being targeted for your ad. And so that's one way, that's one way is right there. Otherwise, I want to show you real quick, under more demographics, look at life events. This now, we can see, oh, newly engaged in the last year, newly engaged in the last 3 months. Wow, okay, so they just got engaged and they're just starting to get into the wedding planning and stuff. Well, that's probably a better fit for me than just being engaged all across the board. Maybe they're getting married next week and they've got it figured out. So you can see here that in the United States, there's still 194,000 people who've been engaged in the last 3 months. And you can get, if you were a wedding coach, you could get your message exactly in front of those people immediately. And so that's one way to target, is you can see the demographics and life events. One thing that some of my clients love is you can actually target people based on their income. And so people in the financial services industry, you can target affluent clients. You can take a look at their net worth. And if you know you only want to work with corporate women making 6 figures on finding more balance in their life, maybe you want to focus on on their income and how much they're making a year, and knowing that that might be health might be a piece that's lacking, even though they've had a lot of financial success. So another example I'll just run by you really quick is, let's say you're a business coach and you're focusing on entrepreneurs. So that's the demographics piece. For some of those other things, well, for entrepreneurs, there's not really any specific demographics that necessarily you maybe want to pull on. So, so here in this interest area, you can actually target people who like your competitors' pages, or target people who like pages that basically all your target audience would enjoy following. So for example, let's say you want to target entrepreneurs. You're a business coach, you want to target entrepreneurs. They're probably following maybe Ali Brown, right? And they're following Marie Forleo. And you can see that you're pulling up all the fans of Ali Brown and Marie Forleo, maybe Fabian Fredrickson. And you can just see, you just keep pulling up all the fans of basically all the work that Ali Brown and Marie Forleo have done to build their Facebook following. And with Facebook ads, you can actually target their following. Then you can also target like networking groups, so Female Entrepreneurs Association. You can follow like eWomen Network, you know, where people are locally networking. So as you can see, the list goes on. And again, with those interests, with those targeted interests, right now you can put your message, you can pay to put your message in front of 440,000 people, targeted people, and you can narrow it as much or as little as you want. And I always say that, you know, typically I like the potential reach to be somewhere between 30,000 and 300,000. So this might be a little bit broad, and you can just narrow it down again further by age or by gender if you only want to work with women, just to kind of get it into that sweet spot so that it's a little bit more targeted to your audience. So after you identify, I wouldn't do much with the behaviors. I wouldn't do much with the broad, there's a broad interest category. I don't touch any of this, so the only area I would focus on are the interests and the more demographics. I wouldn't, and then of course the age and where you want to target them, if it's just the US or US and Canada or wherever you want to go. Maybe you want to target people just locally. That works great too. And then I just want to show you how to actually set your budget. So, so I think that it's absolutely, so just so you know, so you can understand how much you're probably investing to pull in these leads, that typically, I would say that spending anywhere around or just under $5 a lead is an outstanding place to be. You're getting leads for a very good price. Sometimes you can get down to $3 a lead, so anywhere between $3 and $5 a lead, you're doing great. But again, depending on what your offer is, will determine how big of a return on investment you can get. So if you want to add 100 people to your list, ultimately, it's going to potentially cost $500 to do that. But if you know that 5 to 10% of that list will buy your $2,000 product, I know I'm probably making your head spin with all these numbers, but what I want to show you is that when you know your numbers, you know exactly how many people to target, how many people to pay for, really to pay for their targeted leads to get on your list, and then how many of those you'll be able to turn into clients or people buying your product or service down the road. So you can get pretty clear on, okay, so when I spend $300, typically I make $5,000, and then you can just kind of rerun it over and over and over again. Is this making, am I blowing your head off with too much information, or is this making sense? Awesome, making sense, good. Good. So yeah, so so there is a lot of numbers tracking, but once you figure it out, it's so beautiful. So you know exactly. Let's just say, oh my goodness, I've got 2 spots open in my coaching practice. I really would like to fill those 2 spots with 2 clients. Well, once you know your numbers, you know exactly how much to invest to then be able to convert them from prospects into leads, into prospects into clients, which I'm going to go into the rest of the system here. So then from there, so the other really important thing, just to make sure that nobody loses a ton of money on Facebook, is that you always want to, when you go into bidding and pricing, and there will be a replay of this, I am recording it so you can go back and revisit it. When you go into pricing, you always want to make sure that you, when you do, basically it's called CPC, which means you're paying for clicks. And so you can see here that Facebook tells you what to typically bid for a click, and they actually put your click bid right in the middle area there. And I would go a little bit higher. I would go a little bit closer to the higher end just so that Facebook starts showing your ads so you can actually see if it's working or performing. But what's beautiful about this, so people get really scared they're going to lose money on Facebook. As long as you only bid per click, you will only ever be charged when somebody clicks your ad or likes your ad or shares your ad or comments on your ad. So any action somebody takes on your ad is the only time you'll ever be charged. And in this case, you'd be charged 46 cents anytime somebody does one of those actions. You're not charged for showing the ad, you're not charged for anything else, only for when they actually click it. So hopefully that puts some, and also you can decide exactly what your budget is per day. So if you only want to spend $5 a day and only get one lead a day potentially, you can set your budget there. Or you can set a lifetime budget, and you can also set your, this is the other piece, is I would always, when you're first starting out, set a start and an end date, just so that as you're just learning to track some of this stuff, you don't lose sight of it and all of a sudden realize, oh my gosh, my ad's still running and I wanted to stop it. So I would just start a start and an end date, say how much you want to spend a day on it, and then you'd be off to the races and getting your message in front of very targeted leads and making that offer for a webinar or for a free offer. So you can start nurturing them and serving them. Okay, so that's Facebook ads. I know there's just piles and piles of questions already coming in, so I'm going to just keep cruising along here, and I'm going to go back, I promise, and revisit all of those questions. Yeah, pull back the other slideshow here. Okay, so yeah, kind of get my bearings again. Make sure I covered everything for that. So when you run, when you're running an ad for a webinar or a teleseminar, you want to run the ad probably between 2 and 10 days in front of the event. And when you're first starting out, I would run it 10 days because you're going to want that extra time to make sure that the ad's really performing. And if you have to tweak anything like the image or the headline or anything, just that gives you some extra time to continue to draw in those leads. And then after you really get your ad and your lead page optimized and really working the way that you want it to, and you're getting those leads for between $3 and $5 each, then I would suggest only running your ad 2 to 3 days before the webinar, because what I found in my own nerdy research is that 80% of the people, and you guys can think about this for yourself, I don't know when you registered for this webinar, but 80% of the people who showed up live rather than watch the replay registered within a few days before the webinar and not too far out, because life comes up, it gets in the way, right? So once you really have this funnel, the lead page and the Facebook ad really solidified and automated, then you can pop that ad on for $500 in one day and fill a webinar. I mean, just like plug and play. All right, that's the nitty-gritty of the technology. So so that's the intense stuff, right? So the next step is, of course, it's showtime. It's time to host your webinar. And so people signed up for your webinar, and they've basically they went to your Facebook ad, they opted into your lead page, and now they are all signed up and ready to go. And so as you recall from earlier, you've already figured out all your content based on your signature webinar outline. You've created slides if you're doing a webinar, or if you're doing a teleseminar, then you don't have to worry about slides. And your attendees have automatically been sent all the information they need to join into the webinar. You don't have to worry about sending those emails, because it automatically happens with most of those services, or you can set it up in your own email system. And so now it's just showtime. And so you do feel little jumping jacks, or you listen to some music, or you do whatever you need to do to really get your energy up. And then shortly before the webinar starts, again, like I said, a couple of mistakes that I've made. You make sure you are showing your screen and you're recording it so that the people who aren't able to attend live can still access it. And you just welcome people as they're coming in. That's like the easiest step, right? You just got to show up and be you. It's awesome. So after you go through that, I started talking about that you want to make a call to action on your webinar or on your teleclass. And it's really important that we turn these leads into clients, because that's why we're doing this, right? And the truth is that one-to-one sales conversations is the most effective way for you to maximize your return on your investment in advertising and in on these leads. And it's the fastest path to achieving your big vision for financial success. So I know everybody wants passive income. We all want passive income. But the truth of the matter is that we have to start with an active income, a high ticket, high-end product, and then work our way into leveraged and then passive. And it's really the active income that can then fund and support us in creating the passive income sort of funnel. If we try to do it without a high-end package on the top end of the funnel, then a lot of people get burnt out and go broke very fast trying to get into passive income before really having strong active income. I hope I didn't burst too many bubbles with that one. But so for many, this strong call to action is definitely this complimentary consult or strategy session or a discovery session or a sales call or whatever you want to call it, whatever is going to be really appealing to your audience. And for others, certainly you can sell a low-end product or service and sell directly from the webinar. I would suggest not selling anything over $1,000 from a webinar. And if you're really great at sales, you could certainly just sell a $1,000 product straight from a webinar. If you are able to offer a consult, though, you can generate a lot more income on the back end, like I said, and you can easily sell packages for thousands of dollars rather than the lower end packages, and that's the best way to get the highest return on investment. So if you don't currently have a high-end package in your business, and that would be over $2,000, put that on your to-do list, because it's absolutely critical. It's going to change your business when you start looking at creating packages versus per hour charging, and really focusing on the results and the destination that you're able to bring your clients to, the transformation that they're paying for, and putting a price on the transformation and not on the hours or your time. So I was actually just at an event last week in Atlanta, and I learned an incredible tidbit that is going to change my business forever. And what I learned was that there's always this question of, do I offer my low end and then try to upsell, or do I offer my high end and try to downsell? And the truth is you always offer your high end packages first. And when you're doing enrollment conversations, you are able to expose everybody you come in contact with to your high end packages. If you do the opposite, there's only a small number of people who will ever even be exposed to your high-end package. And so it's much easier to expose everybody to it, so that you have, if it's truly a fit for your client, really expose them to the high-end package, and then you can always kind of narrow in from there if they're not able to move forward with that. That's really powerful. That was from Alex Mendosian. So he's like, I don't know, he earns like $1 million in a day or something like that. So I just listen to people when they tell me they're having that kind of success and that kind of impact. All right, so let's talk about sales for a minute. Raise your hand if, hold on, I gotta put your hands down. But I want you to raise your hand if you feel discomfort around sales. Raise your hand if you feel discomfort around sales. Yep, I see Brianna, and Glenda, Isabel, Kristen, Linda, Merritt, Michelle. Okay, so lots of discomfort around sales, right? You're not alone. Not alone at all. So let me teach you a little bit about sales so we can hopefully alleviate some of that discomfort. Because nobody likes to be sold. Nobody likes to be sold with a hard sell. It's uncomfortable and it's awkward, and you want to be able to have these conversations in a way that feels really service-based, right? And really on purpose and intentional and supportive, and you want prospects to really see the value without feeling sold. And so that's why a lot of times we feel really uncomfortable with sales. Well, I want to take you through it's what I call my explosive sales formula. And it's basically 5 steps to having highly effective enrollment conversations or discovery sessions that that you can just walk through. And it's these 5 components must be present in your conversation, in your sales conversation, in order to truly be able to serve and help your prospects move forward with their challenge or their frustration. And if you miss one of these pieces, then it's going to be very difficult to close a sale. So the absolute first step, and probably the most important step, is that you really want to explore their challenges and frustrations, and you have to build the pain. And we're all helpers, and we don't like seeing people in pain, and that's why we do what we do in the first place. But the reality is that if you don't help your prospect see the challenge and the frustration that they're truly experiencing in their business or in their life, they're not going to have enough leverage or enough pull to really overcome it. So many people are really in denial about how bad things really are, and we all avoid feeling pain. And let's just use an example of someone who's looking to lose weight, right? What's the first thing you would avoid doing if you feel like you put a little extra weight on? What would you avoid doing if you felt like you were gaining a little bit of weight? Got to get my questions up here. Stepping on the scale, exactly. Stepping on the scale, avoid putting a swimsuit on and going to the beach. Yeah, avoid eating sweeties. Yes, so you don't do all of that stuff. And it's too painful, right? It's too painful to see how bad it really is. Like, we can kind of tell ourselves, oh, I just got to lose a few pounds and I'll feel better. But the reality is when we put that swimsuit on or when we step on the scale, we have to face how bad it really is. And so you have to really help your clients understand fully what the pain is. And especially when it comes to using the example of weight. Maybe they get up in the morning, they feel like crap because they look in their closet and they can't see anything that they want to wear. They dread going to work because they have to face people and their clothes don't fit right. They avoid social situations or having fun with friends because they don't feel like they look their best, and all of a sudden we can find that this carrying a few extra pounds that they come to you for is impacting every area of their life, and it's much more painful than they've even allowed themselves to experience. And so it's our job to really uncover what that pain is, because it's critical to help them move forward with your solution. The second step is to really uncover their desires and their hopes. So this is where this is like your reward for taking them into, the big dark holes. You get to allow them to paint the picture of what they want, and then you also get to help them expand that vision even further. So you really get to stretch that gap between where they are and where they want to be. And then your third step is to give a couple of pieces of advice. Remember, too much information overwhelms our prospect or confuses them, and confused mind doesn't buy. So you want to literally give like 1 or 2 pieces of advice to help them bridge the gap from their challenge and their frustration and their pain to where they want to be. And then your fourth step is to offer your full solution that, if it's a fit, which you're going to discover in this session if you're truly a fit, and if you're truly a fit, then you make your full offer that bridges them from their frustrations to their biggest desires. And if your coaching isn't a fit, you have the opportunity to really be the connector in that case and connect them to the right resource or the right person that is going to be the best fit. And that's creating some true win-wins with some referral partners and also just complete, your prospect is just going to think you're amazing for referring them to the right resource at the right time. And then the fifth step is what I call the magic question. So you've dug through all of that, and this is the question that will allow your prospects to say yes before you even tell them what the investment is, and it's giving them the chance to sell themselves. So you just very simply ask, what would be the benefits of getting started with exactly what you offered them? And you just give them some time to really vet out what it would mean to them and what they would really get out of it, and allow them to come up with their own results based on what you uncovered for them. And that's a very powerful and empowering place to be, to allow them to tell you versus to tell them. And then that pulls a lot of people. Some of the discomfort in sales is really around feeling like we have to convince people of our value, even though we know it on the inside. And you don't have to convince them when they are able to convince themselves. It's very powerful. And then from there, you just ask them what other questions they have, which is then usually when the investment comes up, and are you ready to get started? So when the investment comes up, this is another very critical piece of these enrollment conversations and to sell high-ticket packages, is that when they ask, well, how much is this going to cost, you very simply say the price, and then you say nothing else. You don't say anything else until the prospect speaks first. So I could spend hours and hours talking with you about how to continue to do these enrollment conversations and overcome objections, but this in and of itself is going to transform your conversion rates and help you close more of those people you're having enrollment conversations with and at a higher price point. Okay, so just a very quick recap. This is the online marketing funnel. So we have to get leads, which we went through using Facebook advertising to get targeted leads. And then you turn those leads into prospects, and you do that by delivering high-value content on a webinar or a teleseminar, or you can certainly do this with other lead magnets too, like ebooks and that sort of thing. And then you make an offer for an enrollment conversation, for a discovery session, and then they become clients. So that's your funnel from leads all the way down to clients and everything that we just covered. So so what do you think? Is this just like, is there some incredible potential here for implementing a funnel like this and getting targeted leads and turning them into clients? Raise your hand if this is speaking to you and how you would like to grow your business. See some hands going up, got the other hands down. Awesome. Yeah, very, very powerful, powerful stuff. So I have to share something else. I can't leave you hanging because the truth is that I can share with you the perfect marketing and sales funnel. Anyone can, and many experts out there do just that, right? There's this perfect magic bullet funnel. But there's one piece that is absolutely critical to the success of any marketing and sales funnel, and it's the missing link in most programs out there, and it's the thing that causes people to lose a lot of money in their businesses. And it's kind of like this little secret thing that a lot of people don't really know how to fix, and it's heartbreaking because you watch really well-intentioned entrepreneurs lose out or give up on their dream. And like I mentioned earlier, it takes three things to pull off a successful business in life. And the first thing is that amazing product or service you have. And the second thing is mastering a funnel like this, which I totally just probably blew your head up with. And then the third thing is that inner work. And I know it would be so much easier if there were a magic bullet and a secret method that just worked every single time. But the truth is that whether or not those work really depend on who you are and who you become. And the ability to make more business lies within, not in one of these funnels. So this funnel does work, but what I've learned is that to truly become successful in business and become financially free, it's all an inside game. It's all based on who you are, what you believe, how you think, why you have faith in yourself. In other words, it's all about your underlying beliefs and your subconscious thoughts. And it's that piece that really determines how these miracles unfold in your business and in your life. So I just want to share a little bit of this inner game because I want you to pay really close attention to, I want you to identify kind of where you're falling on this inner game of this sales and marketing funnel. And this is a very personal, this is the personal piece. This is not a one-size-fits-all sort of situation. How each and every one of you individually goes through this and shows up in your business is very personal and based on just who you are and all of your past experiences. So generally speaking, there are 7 different levels of this inner game, and the more energy you have on the low end, the more likely you're going to be struggling in your business and not getting the results that you want. And the more energy you have on the high end, the more effortless and easy your business is, and also the more money you're able to bring in as a result of approaching sales and marketing from a very confident and authentic and heart-centered place. So you can see I kind of painted a picture of what each end of the spectrum looks like. And I just want you to take a second and just take a peek at that and see if you can relate to any pieces of it. And you might relate to things in level 1 and things in level 7. But just to kind of increase your awareness about how that shows up for you can be really powerful. And after you kind of take a look at that and you start seeing some things, go ahead and enter into the question box, you know, where you see yourself falling on the spectrum when it comes to your sales and your marketing and what you're doing in your business. So yeah, 4, yes, 5, 3 to 5, 3 and 7, 1 and 7, absolutely, and some in between. Yeah, so you can see how you kind of vacillate, right, in between all of these all the time. But when you have some awareness about what's holding you back or what's really stopping you from truly implementing, right, implementing all this information I just gave you that is a proven and tested model, but what you do with it is completely determined by this piece of you and this piece of your business. I can share this model with 2 totally different people, and one person can go implement it and get bigger, better, and more amazing returns than I get, and another person it can totally flop with. I've watched it happen both ways. And that's when I learned that there's this missing piece in so much of what's being taught out there. And I couldn't leave this call today without sharing that this is the missing piece. If you've tried a lot of things and it's not working, this is the missing piece. Okay, so before we wind down with questions, I really want to share an incredible opportunity with you to take this even deeper. And it's just a special bonus for showing up today and sticking with me and soaking in a ton of information. And while the information I shared is going to help you get started getting clients online very, very quickly, my experience is that each and every one of you are very unique, and how it's going to work for you is very different than how it's going to work for the person sitting virtually next to you. Nobody's like you. This isn't a one-size-fits-all sort of thing. And so because of this, I'm offering a very personalized complimentary gift to you. It's a 45-minute business breakthrough strategy session by application only. This session is going to help you get crystal clear about what's possible for your business. And if this model, what it's really going to take for you to implement this model to get to the level of income, impact, and independence that you really want to have. And the other thing that's really powerful about this is one of my strengths is I can very quickly identify exactly where you're sabotaging potentially your success and how to break through that. And that happens in these complimentary sessions. It's very powerful and very impactful. And I'm going to help you identify the most powerful actions that you can take right away to move to the monthly income you deserve. And you're going to leave that session with the confidence of knowing exactly what to do to create the business you want fast. Now, certainly, if I think you're a fit and I think that I can help you at the end of this, I would make an offer. I just trained you on that, right? But the reality is that what I have to offer isn't a fit for everybody. But what I do know is that I can help absolutely everybody in these sessions if they're truly ready to break through, which is why I go through an application process. So this is your opportunity to get expert advice and coaching on how to add this strategy to your business. And it's a huge value, and it's my gift to you. And the truth is that this process works. I only have 9 spots available, but it does take commitment. It does take really hardcore implementation. And I want to make sure that I connect with the people who are most ready and willing to take action, because I've seen the power of these sessions and that what can happen out of them. Some people really aren't ready for it, so I really need to kind of test the waters on that. I used to open it up to really everybody, but I learned a lesson the hard way that sometimes it's hard to hear what I have to share, and I want to make sure that the people are ready to really break through and do things differently in their business. So if you qualify, you're going to have an opportunity to schedule a time with me, to connect with me personally, to come up with that concrete game plan to start shifting your business, exactly where to focus first and right now based on where you're at in your business. And if you don't qualify, I'm just going to send you a very friendly email letting you know, and I'll try my best to connect you with more appropriate resources that can help. But no matter what, you would find this call incredibly valuable and powerful, and I encourage you to sign up for one of these sessions. If you're feeling stuck in your business and you want to talk to somebody, this is your chance. And so if you're interested in applying for this, you can go to getmyclientsonline.com. There's an application process there. And if you're struggling with your business and you want to get better results, I really can't think of any reason why you wouldn't do this other than fear. And unfortunately, it's exactly that fear that's probably holding you back from really where you want to be. And if you feel excited about the potential of this model and you know that you have that incredible service to offer, I don't know why you wouldn't just hop on this and take advantage of it. So if you're ambitious and committed, it's definitely something you want to do. And one more surprise for everybody, whether you apply or don't apply, or you're accepted or you're not accepted, no matter what, just for joining me live today, I'm going to be sending each and every one of you a Get Clients Online Toolkit, my gift to you for investing your time with me and trusting me. Trust is the biggest compliment you can get. And when people give you your time, they're trusting you, and that's just huge. And in this toolkit, there are going to be exercises and checklists and outlines, all the stuff that's going to help you, support you in implementing the 6 steps that we just covered. Okay, so I know there's lots and lots of questions, and I want to open it up here for the next 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm going to go back to the question box, and if you have other questions, enter them in right now, and we will get them answered. Make this big so I can see it. Okay. Okay, Kristen is wondering, great question, are there any other options, are there free services just to get started? And so what I love about, so there are free services. MailChimp for email services is, I think it's cheap, really cheap. I think it's free up to your first like 1,000 contacts or something, and that's enough to at least start automating your emails. GoToWebinar, most of this stuff gives you a 30-day trial, so that's how I launched the system. Was I was like, okay, I don't have many clients, but I want to give it a try because it seems like it's really going to work. And so what I did was I signed up for the 30-day free trial with GoToWebinar and the 30-day money-back guarantee with Leadpages, and then I had to, of course, invest money in the Facebook ads. But by doing that, I knew that I would have 30 days. You know, I really have no cost in it to do it, to go kind of balls to the wall and give it a good shot. And of course, within my first webinar, I had closed enough sales to then be able to invest in those services that are really top notch. So that's how I did it. But yeah, there are free services for Leadpages. Really, your best bet is to, I mean, this is like, for a lead page, it's really kind of your do-it-yourselfer, and take a look at other people's lead pages, especially, I call them niche mates, people in your industry, and kind of how they're creating pages, and attempt to emulate it on your website. And what you can do is through your email marketing service, they'll give you code to actually put on your website to collect email addresses. So it's more do-it-yourself. You can find YouTube videos. You can find everything you want to create your own lead page. But I will say that the results are going to be not nearly as good because there is a science behind setting up a powerful lead page that you actually can get, you know, that actually converts into people wanting to participate in your webinar and that sort of thing. And that's why I love Leadpages. And I think Leadpages is, I don't know, it's like $30 a month. So it's not over the top for that. So I think that answers that. How does Facebook determine the income of a user? Great question, Isabel. So Facebook is really Big Brother. So they actually purchase, from what I understand, they purchase data from anywhere and everywhere to add into their database. So they really get data from multiple data points, and not only from Facebook, the Facebook profile or what people enter in. They like cross-match. I mean, it's I know it sounds kind of creepy, but it's just the reality of where we're at with technology. And so they get data from all over the place, and I don't know for sure where they get that piece of data, the income of a user, but all over the place. So yeah, so they're pulling that, and so that's why Facebook has become such a strong advertising platform, is because, I mean, they've really just set themselves up to get all of that that data. And I mean, Google at this point is a close match, but can't even quite match Facebook yet on the targeting ability anymore. On the targeting ability, really wild. Okay, Kristen, another great question. How do you target parents? Under the more demographics, Kristen, there's actually a so Kristen, this is Kristen Lee, right? I'm pretty confident. Okay, so Kristen, for you could go under demographics, and there's a parents, more demographics, there's a parents button, and what it does is it allows you to target parents with kids between certain ages. So I know you could target parents of children between 0 and 3, parents of children between 4 and 12, parents of teenagers. And so you could target parents, and you could also then under interests, because I know Kristen works with families with special needs or families with autistic children, then under special interests, Kristen, you could start targeting like some of the associations, some of the other pages that are really catered towards parents with children with special needs. And so you could really get laser focused on, one, the age group you love to work with, and two, the specific needs that you love to help families serve. How do you guess how many prospects will buy the first time you try this? Awesome, Merritt. That's an awesome question. The reality is that so I can just say that when you get really so there's two pieces to this. If you're really great at sales, if you implement that sales strategy, the enrollment conversation, those 5 steps, and you really, really master it, and you really get into people's pain points, and you really get into their desires, and you know that your offer is a fit for them and can help them totally make that transformation that they want to make, I say that for high-end packages, you can easily close, well, I shouldn't say easily. When you get really good at it, and the only way you can get good at it is by doing it over and over and over and over again, but when you get good at it, you should be able to close 30 to 50% of the people that you have enrollment conversations with. When you're first starting out, you might only get 10% or 20%. And so that would mean that for every 10 conversations, if you close one client at $2,000, that's, you'd still be able to get a return, but of course, if you can close 3 out of 10, then you get $6,000 return. So it's kind of a numbers game, but at the end of the day, you do have to be absolutely outstanding at sales. I mean, you have to be outstanding at sales if you're in business, whether you're online or offline. It doesn't matter. If we aren't good at sales, we're not in business. That's the only way to get us to where we want to be. So anything and everything you can do to master sales will and once you get really good at it, you can actually track those numbers, and you'll know exactly how many people you have to talk to close one client. And how many prospects will buy the first time you try this? So be great at sales. Then you'll know how many prospects to buy. I'll just run through. If you're a numbers person. Oh, okay. So if you're a numbers person, so like my perfect funnel is that Facebook shows my ad to 1,000 people. So stick with me on this one. Facebook shows my ad to 1,000 people. I get a 2% click-through rate, which is actually really high. That's really high. I've heard people say anything over 0.5 is outstanding. If I get a 2% click-through rate, that means that 20 out of 1,000 clicked somewhere on my ad. Out of those 20, 30% sign up for my webinar. So 30% sign up for my webinar. So this is going to answer your other question, Merritt. Merritt also was wondering, if you spend $5 a lead, and how come you're only paying 46 cents a click? So 46 cents a click is that only 30% of the people who show up on my lead page actually give their email address to learn the information I'm sharing. And again, that's a really great opt-in rate. So as you kind of really get your funnel solidified, you're shooting for like a 2% click-through rate, a 30% opt-in rate on your lead page. And then for your webinars, really 15 to 20% will show up live. And out of those 15 to 20%, so this is the power of knowing your numbers, out of those 15 to 20%, you can probably depend on, for a free enrollment conversation, closing anywhere between, I've had clients close like 50% of their people applied for enrollment conversations. But what's more realistic is, I would say, for a free offer to have a conversation, you'd probably look at about 10% of the people who show up live actually taking advantage of your offer. So it's like you can kind of see, you kind of work the numbers backwards, so then you know exactly where your numbers are, and what's really beautiful about this, and what I really love about it, is you know exactly where there's room for growth or room for improvement. So for example, you might have a Facebook ad that's doing outstanding. You got that 2% click-through rate, but all of a sudden your opt-in page is at like 15%. Okay, you know exactly what you need to fix, what you want to work on to make it more effective and more efficient. And so you start playing around and testing different headlines and testing different messages on that opt-in page until you get it to where you want it to be. So I hope that makes sense. Is past my, I just read the Go Giver, Kristen, I just read the Go Giver Sells More, also our personal conversation. Yes, thank you, Kristen. All right. I'm not seeing, did I miss any? I'm not seeing any other questions. Does anybody have any other questions specific to either the Facebook advertising or this funnel or how to close more prospects into clients? Just give it 30 more seconds here. I know we're just coming up to just 5 minutes away from a 90 minutes, so. I feel like I'm missing some questions from earlier. Is it possible? Looking. Perfect. Just give it one more minute. I love it. You guys are just hanging on. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Michelle. This was a great webinar. You gave some great ideas for my first webinar. Awesome. Awesome. Good. Glad you got some nice tidbits to take with you. Kristen, do you ever use VideoMaker FX? I do not, Kristen. I do use Camtasia for video and to make like some sales videos and stuff. So Camtasia is just a video editing system, but I don't use VideoMaker FX. If I remember right, that's the system that can kind of create some videos up pretty quick, and I think it's no, I don't even want to misspeak here, but I was going to say I think it's one of those things that it makes it really easy for people, and what I see happen a lot of times in the marketplace is when it first comes out, it's awesome, but then all of a sudden the marketplace gets saturated with the same kind of looking videos, so they lose their effectiveness. So I don't know if VideoMaker FX is at that place yet or not, but once you start seeing them all over the place, then you know it's time to move on to a new format, if that makes sense. Perfect. Okay, so I think I answered all the questions, and thank you so much for taking advantage of this opportunity to grow your business and investing your time in learning more about making a bigger impact. My biggest mission is helping entrepreneurs like you become wildly profitable, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to create the ripple effect, because I can only work with so many people, but man, when we put you working with a lot of people, that's creating the ripple effect and truly making the change that led us all to go into this transformational business to begin with. So, and for those of you who are taking advantage of my limited space offer, congratulations on making a firm decision based on your highest held values and commitment to really growing your business and moving it forward. It's amazing. That is one other piece of sales. The most decisive people are the best at sales, and so clearly, if you're making that really fast decision, you've got a lot working for you already in the sales department. So. And then for the rest of you, thank you again for joining me, and I wish you the absolute best of luck on your future endeavors. I believe in each and every one of you and your success, and until next time, or if there's any other way I can serve you, please feel free to reach out and stay in touch. Thank you so much, and goodbye.